So I'm going to do a little experiment today. I think I'm going to let the chickens out and see if they eat less food than what they have been. I've been keeping them inside because of this bird flu thing. Now I know somebody's going to say, oh, I can't believe you believe in this bird flu thing. But I have been keeping them inside. Just, I mean, I don't want to risk my chickens on somebody's theories. It's, they're important to me. So I'm going to let them out and see if that them eating grass will reduce how much food they're eating. The other day I let them out, and they, instead of eating 2 coffee can fulls of food, they only ate 1. Now this is something you're going to see with the hens when you have roosters. Somebody's going to say, Rob, you got too many roosters. You'll see that they pull the feathers off, the roosters do. I have just the right number of hens to roosters ratio according to all the websites I have got. Now you can buy, and we did buy, what's called chicken saddles. And you put it on the around their wings, and it covers up their back so the roosters don't hurt them. Well, doesn't pull out the feathers. We put it on one of them, and she just laid down. She wouldn't do anything. So we took it off. They're not bleeding. It looks like they just pulled the feathers out. I don't think they're actually getting hurt. They don't shy away from the roosters. They don't act like it hurts them. So I guess it's just unattractive. There's Frenchie. So I'm going to see if this works. I don't want to leave them out too long because of the bird flu, but I've only seen large birds, waterfowl birds, fly over once, and I think they were geese. I don't even think they flew over us. It was more kind of over there. And that's what's supposedly carrying the bird flu. So normally I have 2 coffee can fulls of food. The other day I let them outside, not even for that long, maybe 5 minutes, and they only ate 1 coffee can full. So if this reduces their food intake, maybe what I'll do is start raking up some grass. I'll just cut some clippings and throwing it in there. You got to be careful with doing that though. Throwing grass in there, it can clog up their, I forget what it's called. Doesn't matter. It's in here and it kind of processes their food. And then it goes down their stomach into their gizzard, and the gizzard crumbles it all up. So what you got to do is make sure that you put some roughage in there. And we bought some, we forget what it's called, but anyway, they got to eat rocks and pebbles and different things to help grind that all up. And so we bought some of that. So if we can reduce our costs even more, that'd be fantastic. So I've been seeing this thing going around on YouTube as to whether we have a food shortage or not. It's a big debate, and a lot of channels are covering it. And I'm trying not to fearmonger on my channel. I only tell you what I see, what I'm doing. I'm not trying to make any predictions. What I know for a fact, the only thing I know for sure, is the President of the United States said the United States would have a food shortage. He said it, and if not mistaken, he said it twice, but definitely once. So I got to take that at face value. What is a food shortage is all up for conjecture, and they certainly are conjecturing. What I do know is some people are saying that there are egg shortages, egg prices are going up, chicken prices are going up. It's not happening here in the state of Missouri. But what I can tell you is I am not worried about any of it. It just doesn't make any difference to me. I've told you in the past, we have 12 hens, and it feeds Carolyn and me pretty good for every lunch. Some days we get behind, you know, we go grocery shopping and we don't eat lunch that day. So then we have more eggs than we need. So the next day we eat lunch and supper with eggs. Last night we had supper and lunch with eggs and some ham. She cut off a little slice of ham. But the eggs really do reduce the amount of meat that we have to eat. And of course we're carnivores. That's what we're trying to do, is eat just a carnivorous diet. Carolyn eats more vegetables than I do. She likes peppers. I don't like peppers. So she's been fermenting peppers and doing all kinds of things with peppers, and then she can put it in with her eggs, and she just likes that flavoring, I suppose. But I would still say that she is eating 80% meat diet. And it just helps us eat less. Our costs have went down on food prices just because we're eating less, because we're eating only meat. And so when you say, oh my gosh, Rob, I can't afford meat, it's too expensive. It is too expensive if that's not your primary food. But if you're just eating meat, then your costs are going to go down because you're just not eating as much. You don't need as much. You don't need as many snacks. Carolyn and I don't hardly eat any snacks now. We'll eat some popcorn in the evening, but we've even cut down on the amount of popcorn we're cooking. So now Carolyn is also fermenting food again. Last year for the chickens. Last year she fermented some food. Fancy scratch, she would ferment that. Some reason or another, they're able to process fermented food better, easier, more efficiently than regular food. So more of the food is being absorbed by the chicken versus feeding them regularly. So they eat less of the scratch when it's fermented. And what Carolyn does is she just gets a juice bottle. She's over there right now playing with them. Puts the seeds in there and then puts water in it, puts it in a dark place, and it ferments for 3 days. And then she just makes a new bottle every day. She makes 3 bottles, one for each day, and then just keeps cycling through all 3 days. That really helped us out a lot last year. They didn't hardly eat anything last year, but now last year they weren't producing a lot of eggs either. I think we only had 3 chickens producing eggs last year. And then towards the end of the year, we got 4 more. And then of course during the wintertime, they pretty much stopped. So I've been trying to advocate that you figure out how to get some chickens. My mom and dad, who are divorced, been divorced most of my life, they divorced when I was 10, are both thinking about getting chickens. I find that ironic. It's just both of them are thinking about it. So they're concerned about the food and what can they do to make sure that they're getting food. So I wanted to give you how easy it is, some sort of comparison, how easy it is to raise chickens. Because I really feel like everybody should be trying to raise them. I mean, all this debate going on right now on YouTube is food shortages, no food shortages, and all that. Well, let's just not worry about it. Let's just have some food available that's always there. I think that chicken feed prices are actually going down. And if you live close to a feed mill, you would even be able to get it cheaper than what you can at Orscheln's or Tractor Supply Store, which Carolyn and I are looking into. I would say the hardest part of raising chickens was getting started, because there was a lot of trial and error. Even though that I've raised chickens before, the first time I raised chickens, we raised it kind of in a city environment, backyard chickens. And believe it or not, we didn't have any roosters, but nobody complained. Even my angry neighbor, the neighbor nobody liked, he never complained about the chickens. It's not as bad as what I think a lot of people make it out to be. And then I've said maybe you could even put them in your garage. If you got a garage, put them in your garage. Nobody would even know you got them. The first year was pretty tough for us. Trying to get it all established. We lost a lot of chickens, and that's probably the most frustrating thing is when you lose chickens. And we lost chickens right out of the gate. It was really cold, 1-2 degrees. We called the hatchery. They sent us some chickens. The post office was supposed to call us, tell us to come pick up chickens. Well, instead, they delivered them right to the door. The postman's got his window open the whole time, driving around town, and they froze. So by the time we got them, they were all dead. And then we got a second batch. We got them from Orscheln's, and a bunch of those died. They got sick. Frenchie and the 3 buffs were the only thing that survived out of that. And I bet we had 10, 15 chickens that we bought for them. So that was discouraging. Since then, we have bought from Orscheln's and Tractor Supply. And prior to that, we have bought from Orscheln's and Tractor Supply. Never had an issue. It was just this one time. So while I was in the city, we had a fenced off backyard. 6-foot chicken wire fence. And we never had any problems with predators or anything. One time I saw a raccoon. He was a big guy too. And I just knew he was going to try to get into the chicken coop. But he never did. Never tried. We had some coyotes. Eventually the neighbors took care of the coyotes. I'm sure of it because they were around for a while and then they weren't around. There was rumors that the neighbors got the coyotes. So in the city it was a lot easier to raise them. Then we had 8 acres and we let them free range. Any day that we were off work, we let them free range. And we did lose a lot of chickens when we let them free range. Carolyn had chickens in her past and she let them free range. She would say, about once a week, one would come up missing. Well, I don't want to lose any. These things are just too valuable for us right now. So we keep them pinned up in this, and we've had a lot of success with this. Once we got it established, we got chicken wire, then we got field wire, and then we got hardware cloth. So basically 3 layers of fencing to keep the predators out. And it has done a really good job. It's kept dogs out, it's kept a bobcat out. The only problem we had was last year we had a possum, and that's just when we had the chicken wire, and he was able to reach in through the chicken wire, grab a wing, and pull the wing and rip it off the chicken. Of course, we butchered that, and that was the meat birds. But I think the biggest problem we had was we tried to start out big. We got all these chickens, and then we got the meat birds. There were 25 meat birds. It was just a lot of work. But now that we're into the second year, we're not having any problems. None. These chickens are fully grown now. We've already hatched 2 chickens from one of the hens. She did it herself. She went broody. Of course, things got pretty scary there when they were actually born, so we brought them inside. And now we're incubating 22 eggs. We've got all our plans in place. We know how to raise them. We're raised from 10 to 12 weeks. It's just so much easier this year. They're easier than raising a dog. And I've raised dogs before. I don't know, what do we have, 3 dogs in the house? And you're always stepping over them, and you always having to take them outside and walk them and feed them. And it was just a lot of work. These guys, I come down in the morning, I open up the chicken coop. They play around all day. Occasionally I let them out like this. And then at the end of the day, I come down, give them some food. They're already in bed, they're on their roost. I give them some food for the next day, some water for the next day, close up the chicken coop. They're already in, I don't have to put them away or anything. And that's it. Twice a day I come down here. Unless I come down and let them out like this. And this isn't so bad. After a while, I've actually got them trained so I can say, okay, get in your house, and they'll all start moseying into their house. I don't even have to chase them around the yard anymore. And they're nice pets. I really like having them around. They're friendly. You can pet them. I'm sure you could even train them to come right up to you. So I'm trying to really get away from all the YouTube drama about prepping or not prepping or food shortages, not food shortages, and just say, let's not worry about it. Get some chickens. I hope I can inspire you to be prepared so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.